West Ham mates. Welcome to another episode of the Southern Joe West Ham Show with your West Ham mate, all the way from down under, Southern Joe. Now, in this episode, there'll be more recaps. There'll be recaps of our recent games against Liverpool and Chelsea, two big games that will go a long way to deciding how we finish this season, and also against Luton Town. And I also have my rant about the UK press and transfer rumours. So stick around till the end. It's going to be very exciting. First up, as this episode is recorded, the news about Julian Lopetegui replacing David Moyes as West Ham manager has been widely reported. This upsets me, but is also a relief all at once. The relief is that the whole manager situation is sorted out now, so Moyes can get the send-off he deserves when we host Luton Town. And Senor Julian can get to work after the last game when we finish the season off with that visit to Manchester City. But there's lots of mixed emotions here. I'm upset with the negative Nellies that amongst our fan base that just feel like being negative, sometimes just for the sake of it. There's already folk branding the new boss as Moyes 2.0 before he's even stepped into the role. Also, the vehement Moyes out brigade have got their way. They're bully for you lot. But now let's get behind the new Gaffer. Give him a chance. In this day and age, we need to build a squad where everyone needs to fight for their position, no matter who they are, and not just expect to be a walk-up start on the team sheet. Me personally, I reckon each position should have 3 options for that said position. Now, obviously, some players can play multiple roles, but if we have a few utility players amongst a bunch of specialists and we have depth, then I'm happy. Obviously, managing a pro sports team is not like playing a console game. No matter how many assistants you might have, no matter what info you can have on every player on a spreadsheet, you don't see an energy bar above their heads. You don't see a smiley face or a grumpy face to know their mood, without actually communicating with them. You don't have an arrow that shows which way their form is, going up or down. Football, like most pro sports, is a series of intricate plans and sub-plans. They're of situational settings and formations, drills on how to get out of certain situations, and drills on how to execute a sequence in order to score. This takes a lifetime of dedication, and the minute someone types something like, "Oh, the lunch lady could do a better job," or "give the job to the janitor," when I see it on social media, I know that they know even less than me, and I would know less than 10% of what a semi-professional coach would know. But it's these guys who spend countless hours on the training grounds, the managers I'm talking about, pouring through videos, watching who does what, and then you have game day. Then they only get thanked by a handful of truly grateful people, and a lot of them are usually players. If we win, the team did well. But if we lose, it's a stupid manager's fault. Now, look, sometimes the manager will read the game wrong and could easily look back and say that he could put this player in instead of that player, or who he could have played, or change the formation, or gave one extra piece of advice that could have made a difference. We seem to be more forgiving if a player misses a shot at goal, or if a defender misses a tackle. They still get blasted by some unforgiving fans, but rarely get the treatment that Mr. Moyes has had from a certain cohort of so-called fans. My view is this: while they represent us, support them because that's what is representing our club. Give constructive criticism and play badly, and they know when they've had a bad game. But finish with your bit with uplifting stuff to let them know that you're still behind them and the team. Yes, they're professional athletes getting paid boatloads of money, but they are still human as well with the same emotions like you and I. Senor Juan, welcome to our club, and please win us as much as you can. We're all behind you. Should be anyway. Now, just one more thing before I take a small break. I want to pay tribute to a mentor of mine. Back in the late 80s, I wanted to be a radio announcer. I believed I had a decent enough voice, and I always smile when I see a studio, especially a radio booth. So I went to the Max Rowley Media Academy in Sydney, which is where I was born and grew up. Even though I never made, pardon me, even though I never made it in professional radio, I did do my own community radio show for a couple of years. As well as voice and speech lessons, Max taught myself and many others some great life lessons as well. Now, he only retired a few years ago, and while many younger people in Australia don't have a clue who he was, he had one of the most impressive resumes in Australian broadcasting history. Even older people would recognise the voice more so than the name or the face. But many current and former broadcasters here in Australia owe their careers to the guidance of Max Rowley. Sadly, we lost Max on May 2nd, 2024 at the age of 87. Please rest in peace, Max. Glidey boy is massive, Glidey boy is massive, everywhere he goes, everywhere he goes. 2, 3, 4, Glidey boy. That's our cat Clyde. Isn't he a good boy? Off you go. Time to talk about the three most recent games we've had witnessed. It was originally going to be two games, but because I wanted this episode to go live before the Luton Town game, I did originally want that, but it didn't happen because it's been a hectic time around here. Pardon me. The biggest highlight being the wedding of our eldest son and his longtime partner. My brother was also down from Sydney, and there was a lot of stuff going on otherwise. But it's a good weekend nonetheless. And before that, on April 27, we hosted Liverpool in a game that had consequences for both sides. Liverpool were holding on to slim hopes of reaching the top of the table, and we were trying to resurrect our campaign to gain a fourth straight season of European competition, having just bowed out of the Europa League to a mega hot Bayern Leverkusen outfit. We were holding our own and doing all right. Liverpool were dangerous at times, which you expect, but we held our own. In fact, it was Jared Bowen who headed home from a corner to give us a 1-0 lead in the 43rd minute. It was his 20th goal in all comps this season as a hammer, and 16 of them in the Premier League. Well done, Jared. And we held that lead at half time. However, 3 minutes into the second half, Andy Robertson equalised for the Reds. Not long after that, a huge defensive mix-up had Areola being awarded an own goal. We were down 2-1, but didn't give up. Bowen kept toiling away on that right wing, and his efforts were rewarded in the 77th minute when another cross of his was met by Michael Antonio, whose header just sailed over the Liverpool keeper's head and into the back of the net. A very bright performance and a very satisfactory 2-2 draw with a genuine title challenger, and bouncing back after the bitter disappointment of not going further in Europa League. Then came Sunday, May 5th. We visited Stamford Bridge to take on Chelsea. I have to admit, Chelsea were up for this one more than us. We tried, but we seemed to be a Jekyll and Hyde outfit since the start of the year. We started off okay, but a quick break down the right wing, and Cole Palmer puts Chelsea up 1-0 after 15 minutes. Gallagher had a kind ball fall his way. The finish he did was pretty decent, but wouldn't have happened if we could have cleared our lines better. Madueke for them made it 3-0 before half time. As bad as it looked on paper, the score could have been better for us if not for Bowen hitting the crossbar twice in the first half. With Chelsea adding 2 more in the second half, they win 5-0 as Bowen found the crossbar a third time in the second half. Edson Alvarez also skied a decent chance from close range. It was a day or so after this match that David Moyes and West Ham agreed that his contract would not be renewed at the end of the season. And that's when Senor Hulen was announced as Senor Gaffer. Sounded more French. So a penultimate game of the Premier League was against a team almost destined to get relegated, which was Luton Town. They needed to win against us, but we were determined to make David Moyes' last home game a winning one. The dad joke side of me was wondering if the Hammers had already made David Moyes hand in his tracksuit, because he was in a smart business shirt instead of his usual tracksuit with DM over the heart. That's his initials if you can't work that out. Anyways, Luton looked to crash our party as they went 1-0 up in only the 6th minute. We tried to hit back with presses that led to some chances. Mohamed Kudus hooked the ball wide after a Luton defensive mix-up, and Bowen continued his woodwork masterclass as he hit the outside of the post a few moments later. Mind you, Bowen's run and contact were superb and deserved a goal. Luton's 1-0 halftime lead was evaporated in the 54th minute when yet another sizzling run by Bowen was crossed into the box with an awful clearance from Luton coming straight out to our golf pro, James Ward-Prowse, who hit it sweetly into the back of the net. We're getting on top of the game by now, and Antonio nearly made it 2 for us on 2 occasions. Now, that second occasion also saw Bowen hit the side netting in the same sequence. But we could all feel that it was only a matter of time, despite what the commentators were saying at this stage. We were pressing hard. Mohamed Kudus was mesmerising the Luton Town defence. Even Lucas Paqueta, who I feel has been a bit below his brilliant best lately, was starting to find a bit of touch. Once again, this time at the 65th minute mark, a weak Luton clearance falls to a hammer, lurking on the edge of the penalty area. This time, Tomasz Suchek gets to do his whirly-bird celebration as he hits a beautiful volley into the back of the net for 2-1. We nearly made it 3-1 when Kudus went on a burrowing run out of defence. He found Bowen on a blistering right-wing run, yet another one, and his cross found Kudus again, who made good space for himself, but hit the post. This run was started coming out of defence by a deft backheel by Paqueta. As I said, he may well be coming out of his form slump. The third goal was the stuff you only read about in what used to be called Boys' Own Comics. George Earthy comes on as a sub at around the 70-minute mark. Now, his debut game a couple of weeks ago ended horribly for him as he suffered concussion, and it was only after a few minutes on the field, where he looked quite comfortable for a young'un up until that point. So here he was, and he carried on where he left off in that game. His very first touch was meeting a dazzling Kudus cross, and Earthy side-footed the ball home from close range with his first touch. Now, by the way, did I mention this kid is only 19? He is a future Hammer of the Year. Also, loved him and Kudus sitting on the barricade and Zuma pretending to take their photo. That was lovely stuff. A nice 3-1 win as a send-off for Mr. Moyes. Now, here I had a thought about our guys' goal celebrations. I see in some teams where there is a shoosh to the opposition fans or some sort of arrogant gesture. Our guys have fun celebrations. Like Pack and Kudus like sitting on the barricade. Suchek likes his whirlybird. Ward-Prowse with the golf swing. Bowen did a pregnancy one last season for his wife, who was pregnant at the time. Rice used to kiss the badge. Noble kissed the badge. I'll kiss it too. But he also used to fold his arms. And Antonio has an array of fun celebrations, but none of them as a taunt or diss on the opposition. So good on you, Hammer lads. I'll be back after this message with some info on UK media, web media, and transfer rumours that you don't want to miss. All right, now, I don't know how strict the laws are in truth in media reporting in the UK. Here were some pretty strict laws, and some media outlets have paid the price for not being truthfully truthful because they've had to pay out on defamation cases brought against them. I say that because so much of what the UK media print seems to be absolute rubbish. A kernel of truth at the very best. Now, this seems to spill over into supposed insiders, dirt sheet writers, and even some European outlets. The guy with the best track record seems to be Fabrizio Romano, but even he can get his info wrong on the odd occasion. Not one site is 100% right. I've joined several Hammers Facebook pages, hoping they'll spread my goodwill through links to my episodes of this show. If they don't, I'll name those Facebook pages that are reposting some of the most ridiculous articles if they don't post my links. Even at the time of this episode, we're still weeks away from the summer transfer window. Hell, the season isn't over yet. The kindest way I can see someone coming up with a transfer rumour will be this way. And I'll use real people just in case someone is dopey enough to run with it as clickbait. But I won't use a West Ham player. Let's say I was a reporter and I wanted to start a rumour about Adama Traore, because I like him. Now, we need to first of all get the right one, as there are at least 2 Adama Traores playing football. The one I'm talking about is the big burly one that used to play for Wolves but is now with Fulham. So I'm at a press conference, or I've gone up to Senor Hulen and say congrats on the new job. Then I ask him if he rates Traore. He'll give me his opinion. Now, if he rates him highly, I'll report that with a deliberately misleading clickbait headline. New Hammers boss shows interest in Fulham winger. You click on my article where I bulltish my way into a rumour that Traore might sign for the Hammers. All because of that one question. Now, apart from that, who knows where these loads of force droppings emanate from? Here's a good one I just saw on Facebook. It says, I want to be part of this family. Big name Premier League star tells David Sullivan he wants to be a West Ham player in the coming days, and he already has a jersey number to his name at the London Stadium. Sounds interesting. The article then doesn't say who this supposed big name is, but does say that, Angelo Ogbonna would like to stay with us for one more year. Here's another one. Disclosed. Mohamed Kudus has revealed the reasons behind his sudden departure from the club. Turns out to be an article about Flynn Downs, who's reportedly looking to stay on loan at Southampton because he enjoys it there. Not one thing about Kudus. Now, my rules are these. Don't just read the articles. See where the article is from and what the writer's history may be. Many of you guys in the UK know which pundits just out and out hate us and who may be at least a bit fair-minded. Also, look to see how the player has been going with us and see if they indeed have a release clause. And would it be appropriate for that release clause to be activated? I mean, Declan Rice has been reported many times over the past 2 or 3 seasons as definitely signing a deal with, say, Chelsea or Man City. Bowen's been signed to Liverpool 3 years in a row, according to these fake news sites, the dirt cheaters. David Moyes has been sacked a few times before the actual mutual end came last week. Every transfer window, we're linked with at least 20 players from either ranging from some scrub that can't even make the first 11 of some minor Euro league, all the way to Mbappe, who I've seen even this week linked to us. It's all crazy. At the end of the day, it's not a done deal until the player is holding his new jersey at the press conference. Doesn't matter if it's the Sun, the Mail, BBC Fabrizio, ex-West Ham employee, or one of these shite disturbers. If it's not official, don't lose your lunch over it. Also, don't go blaming anyone for someone we miss out on. Every signing is a crapshoot anyway as to whether they will excel or not. Even when we signed Manuel Pellegrini as our gaffer, we thought we'd become world beaters because he is world-class coach. But after spending a buttload of money on new signings, we still flirted dangerously with relegation, and that's when we had the second reign of David Moyes taking over from Mr. Pellegrini. This is not like a console game where if you manipulate the amounts, you can sign almost anyone you want, regardless of whether they would actually sign for us in real life or not. Basically, enjoy the ride. If we miss out on someone that we really wanted, yeah, it can be disappointing, but get behind those who come to us, get behind those who stay with us, and wish well those who have given us whatever effort in our shirt who move on. Love the club, love the squad, have faith and believe, and enjoy. Nothing more needs to be said. So till next time, this is your West Ham mate from down under, Southern Joe, saying, "Hooroo,